Hi, you guys, Sarah Pacaro. Today's video is really cool. Really cool because I'm going to give you insights into a client's mind and the reasons behind and all the whys. So, oftentimes we've been in a narcissistic or emotionally abusive, emotionally unavailable, emotionally disconnected relationships. And that's my specialty. That's my niche. That's my upbringing. That is my background. It is my purpose, my passion, and my why is helping people truly get to the core and the root of why and getting that insight into the reasons behind why they stayed with these people, why they chose these types of partners in the first place. And it's all to do with our upbringing. It's all to do with the unconscious beliefs that we have about ourselves because of our upbringing. And those are rarely what we think. So many modalities and methods do not get you to the very core and the very root because they do not utilize and access the power of the unconscious mind to truly get you that connection. Therefore, you never truly get that transformation and breakthrough. You can read all the books, that you can do all the journal prompts, and you have somewhat of an idea, but you still feel that internal pain. You still feel that internal struggle and conflict and block or wall that is there. So you truly don't have the answer to the question why or the reasons behind why you're still in pain because there's a logical part of your mind that understands and knows all the things that this person did to you and knows what you did back to them and understands it logically. But there's another part of you that just doesn't get it and just doesn't get why it still hurts so bad, why you're still stuck in it, why you're still obsessed with that person or trying to figure out the things that happened to you. So I just felt called to share this information with you today. So I'm going to give you first a background of what the client wanted, why they came to me. This particular, I'm not going to use names, of course, but this client came to me because she had accomplished so much in life. She had traveled, she had an incredible job, she had great friends, really good relationships, but in her partnerships, she wasn't currently in a relationship when she came to me, although she deeply desired to be in one, but wanted it to be a healthy relationship and understood that she had a pattern in history of choosing narcissistic partners and getting into narcissistic and highly toxic, highly manipulative, very controlling relationships and wanted to break that pattern and realized there was something within her that she needed to figure out or else she would continue that. So in her life, the overarching theme was she felt like she was constantly disappointing people, unable to truly and deeply connect or be with people. She felt that she was always letting other people down, even though she knew she was always going above and beyond to help other people, to serve other people, to be there for other people. She was an overgiver and realized that there was a part of her that was still searching for approval in the relationships that she had. And this led to her feeling debilitating anxiety, oftentimes canceling plans with her friends and family because she would get so worked up and had so much anxiety around all of this. So she came to me because she really wanted to get to the core and the root of all this and break through, have a complete transformation in her life so that she could open herself up to a loving, healthy, connected, supported relationship, specifically a partnership. And she did so in less than 2 months of us working together. So it's absolutely incredible. But we wrote a list of things down that she said she wanted. And I'm going to share that list with you because more than likely it's similar to the things that you want for yourself and your relationships and in your life. She wanted to be able to share her opinion without feeling bad or without feeling like that other person was constantly putting her down. She wanted to let others express without becoming defensive in their expressing, especially when the opinion was different from hers. She didn't want to immediately make them wrong or start an argument or put that wall up like she noticed she had in the past. She wanted to listen to other people and feel confident and sure of herself in every situation with every relationship. She wanted to no longer be influenced by their views because she noticed these codependent, people pleasing types of characteristics and traits about herself. So if another person had a different opinion or view, she would just kind of go with theirs and was very much a go along to get along kind of person. So she didn't want to feel that disappointment in her body. That's the way she said it. I feel the disappointment in my body, and then I just cave in, I give in, and I just go with whatever they want. So she wanted to be completely free from that, feel balanced, feel proportional. So if it was up here, she wanted to be up here. If it was down here, she wanted to be down here. But oftentimes she said, it's like I'm down here and they're up there, or vice versa. And she felt unproportional. So she wanted to feel proportional. She wanted to do what was right for her because oftentimes she would knowingly do things that were wrong for her, didn't like that she did that and recognize that she did. She wanted to feel beautifully and potently connected to what was inherently right for her. Because what's right for another is not always right for you. But you may notice that pull, that inner and energetic magnetic pull to go towards what you know is wrong for you instead of standing up what's right for you. And that's what she wanted. She wanted to cut the cord of shame and worry and fear and anxiety and never needing to try. She felt like I'm just always trying. I'm always trying to get people to like me. I'm always just doing whatever it takes to try to get them to like me, to accept me, to love me. And she recognized and realized that about herself and began to hate that about herself. So she wanted to know that the way she was, as she was not just enough, but was more than enough. And she didn't need to change herself to try to get other people to like her, to accept her. She felt she still had contact with her parents and didn't want her parents to have power over her any longer. She noticed when she would talk to her parents, they could say something and maybe she was going another direction, but she would automatically go and do what they wanted her to do. And she wanted to no longer let her parents have that power over her and not feel guilt anymore because she didn't want to not go, or she didn't want to go no contact with her parents. She still wanted to have a relationship with them and communicate with them. So a lot of people say no contact is the only way. It's absolutely not true. So she wanted to be able to, in her head, walk away from perceptions or opinions of disapproval, disappointment, and walk right towards love, towards approval with open arms. Not just walk towards it, but she wanted to walk towards it with open arms and feel embraced, connected, and supported by it. She wanted independence emotionally, and this was specifically in regards to her parents, to feel independent physically, emotionally, and energetically. So those were the things that she came to me wanting, desiring, and the very things that she got, and she got very quickly. So I want to share some insight into this client's mind by sharing with you what came up in her session, because this may be something that comes up for you in ours. I don't know. It's not always or not required that you regress back to a specific time. Some people do naturally. Some people just have these interconnections to this understanding that there was something that led them to feel this way. And this is the way that they feel now, and that very feeling that they want to get rid of. So sometimes in our personal transformational sessions, there's a natural spontaneous regression. Sometimes it's an image and experience of the future and what it's going to be like, and then where they're at now, and deep unconscious knowing of what needs to change, what needs to be removed, whether it's an emotion or a feeling or a memory that they're still connected to. So for this specific and particular client, she did go back to different times in her past. And it wasn't like past life regression or anything like that, but it was in her past. And in this, we were able to deeply and just at the very core and root connect to the feelings, the emotions, the way they were expressed, and most importantly, the unconscious beliefs that at that time she either had or was the beginning of her developing that belief about herself, which carried through the rest of her life and impacted all the choices that she made from that point forward. So, the first experience she went back to when she was just a little girl of 5, and she recalls playing the piano, and she played the piano because her parents wanted her to. Her parents wanted her to play the piano, and in this experience, in this scene, there were other kids there were teachers. She could hear other people talking and had the perception and feeling that they were bored. And they weren't having any fun. So she felt like things were off balance because here she was doing something that was supposed to excite her parents and had them really proud of her and engaged, but they seemed bored. They seemed uninterested. And she recalls not understanding that and feeling that disconnect and the shift of imbalance in her body. She remembers her parents they didn't uh like that they didn't understand her because she was trying to tell them about that and get their attention. Hey, mom, dad, look at me. I'm playing this song. And they just didn't seem interested at all. So she felt like they didn't understand her, what she was trying to communicate, what she was trying to express, which left her feeling unloved. It left her feeling small, and it left her feeling isolated, alone, and lost. And that in order to get their attention, their love, and have that connection with them, she needed to be perfect. That some things she was doing, perhaps the way she was playing the piano, it wasn't perfect, because if it was, they would have been more interested and they would have given her more of their attention and they would have been more focused on her. So she developed or recalls feeling and remembering, I felt like I had to be perfect, and that in that experience, I lost part of my connection with them. So, a lot of my videos talk about childhood emotional neglect and having the emotional connection with your parents. So, in this experience that she recalls going back to, she recalls losing that part of that connection with them. So, another scene or an experience that came up in our session was that she was hiding underneath a table in her living room, and she was crying. So she was upset by something. She couldn't recall exactly what it was that she was upset by, but she remembered being under the dining room table and crying, and she was scared about something. And this is, a client who was in her 30s or 40s, and back in the day, right, that is the way that some parents used to punish, is they would use physical discipline. So she recalls being hit or spanked under the table and being yelled at and being told and yelled at, you need to get out of there, you need to come out of there. And again, feeling that whatever it was that she did for her to get punished physically was not proportional. So again, feeling off balance, feeling that it wasn't proportional. Whatever it was that she couldn't recall the details of, and that's fine, it doesn't matter. But remembers that feeling it was unproportional, it was off balance, and remembers thinking something's wrong with me because I feel off balance and off proportion. So something must be wrong with me because otherwise it wouldn't feel this way, and getting really, really anxious about not understanding why she felt that way and what was wrong with her. So this constant anxiety during that time around what was going to happen. So is it going to get worse if I do get out from under the table? Is this physical punishment that I just received of getting hit going to get worse? So feeling this, I don't know what's going to happen. And many people, when they're in narcissistic relationships, uh, present that. I don't know what's going to happen. I have constant anxiety around it. It leads to panic attacks because I always feel like I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop because I have no idea what's going to happen. And your mind will naturally go towards whatever it is that's going to happen is going to be worse than anything you currently experience. And your mind does that as a protective mechanism to kind of pull you back in and to keep you safe and to prepare you for that thing happening being worse. So I have another video about muscle armoring. So your body physically prepares to defend and protect itself, almost that fight response. Even though maybe you've never physically get in a fight or you're not the one fighting back or hitting back, your body internally is unconsciously preparing you for that fight, right? It's a fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. And in this case, her body was preparing her for fight. It was protecting her. And she had this belief, something's wrong with me. And she didn't know how to behave. So this is where the confusion comes in. She didn't know how to behave because she didn't really know what she did to make her parents that upset to be yelling at her and physically punishing her. So should she behave and apologize for something that she didn't truly understand what she did or needed to apologize for? Should she be angry back? Should she defend herself? She just didn't understand how to behave because she knew she didn't want to be experiencing that. So how do I need to behave in order to not experience that or to make it better or to make them stop, to make my parents less angry, to help them calm down because she didn't understand why they were so worked up in the first place. So she recalls feeling disconnected. And this is very common. A lot of people I work with recall feeling disassociated, disconnected, numbing out, not being there because your unconscious mind isn't there physically present with your body. It's off searching for a solution of what do I need to do? Something's wrong with you. You need to step in and fix this and make it better so that it will stop. That's that inner protective mechanism. So she also recalls feeling ashamed and humiliated because she was so confused. She didn't understand, couldn't figure this out, and just recalls a strong feeling of something is wrong with me because I can't figure this out. That belief was developed when she was a little girl of about 5 or 6 years old. Again, remember, she was in her 30s or 40s, so stayed with her for decades, for 3, 4 decades. I've worked with people in their 50s and 60s, and that feeling occurred a long time ago and has stayed with them. They've carried the emotional weight and oftentimes a physical representation of that emotional weight throughout their lives. So we're going to go over one more scene just so you kind of get a better picture and idea, but you're probably already putting these pieces together of experiences that you've had. But remember, these were experiences that were recalled unconsciously. And it's not just the what happened, it's the beliefs that your inner mind developed about who you are as a person, not just your physical body, but your spiritual body, your mental, your emotional body. Now, from that point forward, her life was lived through the lens of something's wrong with me. They don't understand me. I must change in order for them to like me, love me, and stop hurting me. So the next scene was when she was a little girl, almost 10 years old, and she said something, and she couldn't recall what the something was that she said, but she says, I can remember saying something and my dad reacting to me that what I said wasn't respectful enough, almost as you're not going to talk to me like that. I am the dad. You are the child. You will respect me in a very authoritative, demanding tone and expression. And he didn't end up physically punishing her or hitting her, but he wanted to. And she could see it and she could feel it in his expression of how he said what he said when he was demanding, you will respect me. I am the father. So she said that he didn't hit her, but she could tell he wanted to. And so she went to the bathroom and closed the door. And this is so common. You see this all the time in kids. They go to the bathroom, they go to their room, they scream, they slam the door. And so when she went to the bathroom and slammed the door, her dad was so upset because he was already upset that he went to the door and tried to break it down, was so physically upset. He was trying to break through the door to try to get to her. And she recalls being utterly horrified, scared, terrified, so much so that she didn't feel like she could breathe. It felt like her breath stopped. So, obviously and naturally, we need breath. We need breath to live. But when you feel like your breathing is stopped because the person that you love more than anyone else you've ever loved, because they're your parents, they're the first original people that we love, and the people who we learn to love from. We learn to give love, we learn to receive love. It's the first exchange of love. When someone in that position and state is treating you that way, it's extremely emotionally damaging. So she felt terrified. She felt like she couldn't breathe. And on the other side of that door, I felt deeply ashamed. I felt I shouldn't have done this. What is wrong with me? I knew he was already upset. Why did you do that? You knew it was just going to make him more upset. And there was this exchange of anger going on with the father trying to get in to even give more punishment, and she couldn't stop it because you can't stop someone else from doing what they're doing. So remembers again, deeply feeling in her soul that something was wrong with her, that this was her fault. Something was wrong with her, felt humiliated because otherwise naturally was a very good child, a very pleasing child, a very kind child, uh, found herself fawning a lot, right? People pleasing and wanting to do good and being good at doing good to please her parents. That was this exchange of, I want you to like me and love me, so I'm going to do whatever I need to do to please you. But in this moment was not pleasing her father. So she felt humiliated. She felt like she was not good enough because obviously if she was, she wouldn't have caused this to happen, even though she didn't cause it to happen, believed that she did, and felt like he didn't love her. So when you feel like the person that you first love doesn't love you and you've hurt them, you've caused them to treat you this way, naturally, until those unconscious beliefs are reprogrammed and rewired and connected to the very core, the very root, these patterns of behavior, thoughts, and beliefs are going to continue to play out in your adult life. And like I stated in the beginning, this wasn't in every area of her life, but it was in one of the most important areas of her life to her because she wanted a partnership. She wanted to get married and have kids and have a family, but knew that if she didn't figure this out for herself, she wasn't going to get that. And she deeply desired that because we all do. When we're children, we deeply desire a deep, meaningful, loving, supportive, connected relationship with our caregivers, with our parents. But when you have experiences like this, and oftentimes you're unaware of it until you begin to have experience with narcissists in your adult life and your part in choosing the relationships with them, that you realize there's something unconsciously that's going on with me that's causing me to be in these types of relationships. So all of these same patterns were playing out in the relationships with men that she was choosing as partners. Again, that was until we worked together. Not more than 3 months after we worked together, she was very, very happy to let me know about this long relationship that she had had that she had kind of reserved from allowing it to become anything more, but that the relationship was blooming and so, so good. She felt safe to be herself, safe to connect, safe to express herself. And all of the things that I shared in the very beginning were occurring. She was feeling those things, she was expressing those, she was believing that about herself. So everything transformed and changed in every area of her life, but most importantly, in that area for her. So I wanted to share these client insights and reasons why behind you may be doing the same thing. You may be feeling the same ways about yourself. You may be picking partners that are highly toxic, highly manipulative, emotional abusers, and emotionally neglecting you. And realize if you don't do anything to fix, heal, or transform yourself, you're not going to get different types of partners. You're not going to even want to get into another relationship. But there's probably a part of you that really does want to, is just afraid to get in the same types of relationships. So if that's where you're at and you are ready to completely transform and break free from all of that, I would love, love, love to talk to you about the possibility of working together one to one to quickly get to the very core and root of this for you so that in every way, everything in your life can change and begin to go that direction that you want it to without fear, without continuing to hit that roadblock and removing all of the emotional pain and baggage from that past, possibly from the time that you were a little child up to now. So it does not take decades or years and years of therapy. It just doesn't. It takes getting to the very core and root and transforming the unconscious beliefs that you have about yourself because of those experiences that you had in your past. If you're looking for more of like a self-study, self course thing, I've got that as well. You can find more information about our program. It's called Transforming Past Pain to Present Power. Otherwise, I invite you to book in a call to work one to one together. If this is you in any way, shape, or form, and you're ready to do something about it today. All right, guys, thank you for letting me share this with you. And that is all for today. Goodbye for now.